That's a really good one. I've got a piece of thin paper like this. I'm sure you've all done this before, but I'll show you again. You kind of register it there like that, put it there like this, and this kind of provides you with useful strips of paper, right? You can tear down with most of these papers that you'll be using, simple papers like college paper. Don't go for fancy stuff, just go for the easy to tear stuff. You get some of this, fancy paper, sometimes it's rock hard to tear, it's all made of rag and that, yeah? So, whereas this stuff tears great, So basically you make these strips, which I've done already here, so I prepared it there, kind of thing. Once you've got the strips, you may want to go down again. You can if you want, if you do it like that side, if you want to do it in miniatures, you can go down one more. So it's entirely for you how you want to work this one today, This size of that is interesting as well because it's almost microscopic stuff. But anyway, we'll start off with this one here. I'm going to use this stuff, right? So we'll all use a piece of this, right? And basically what we're doing is then close this there. I'm registering there like that on the corner like that. See? If you register like that and it's sloppy, it'll all go out of kilter as you go further down, right? So it's like mistakes get magnified in this kind of lot, But it's trial and error as well. There's no right way to hold a baby as long as it doesn't cry. That's the right way, yeah. And if you can approach that kind of happy bookmaking technique, then you can't go too far wrong. If you approach it from the point of view, oh, I've done it wrong, then you're just gonna not have fun. And this is supposed to be fun, right? So if you fold like that, you make it a W, if you want to call it that, or an M, whichever way it is. And then you register them again, like that. See what I'm doing now? I'm kind of registering them against that bracket there. On this side, whereas this one goes to go here, register it there. And this paper is reasonably, it's not quite going to be there to try to do anything that shouldn't be doing, You've got a kind of a single situation. That's the registration point there for this last tricky one. And you can feel it on this side here when it's further away. And you square it there like that. Goes down like that. And that is the basic kind of body of the thing, if you like, right? If you wanted more pages, it's easy enough to add on because all you do is you just tear that strip off there like this and just show you what it's talking about. And the new one now. I'll do this one a bit faster because obviously time is of the essence and we want to put it along there. So if you had extra ideas, more than there's some trouble with that, I'd say you can add an extra layer on, It's like this. I use PVA glue. Hopefully that's good PVA there. Some PVAs are better than others. I use a sort of builder's PVA. And my friend John has used this glue that went black. It's like this. I'll get a rubbish brush. Okay, so basically, if you wanted to add on a piece, just to show this in reverse order now, but this is how you make your book longer. You just simply kind of hook this piece on here like that. I'm going to put on that side just to make it a bit more posh. Here. So then this bit here comes on like this, behind this. You just get it right on that ridge. You see the ridges? You just get it there. Just give it a press like that so it's nicely on there. Then you've extended your book by a considerable margin, right? So then we've got this big long white piece of paper, right? This is where you would have previously done some with a piece of paper here called ideas sheet. And on ideas, for example, today I will do a book. I like the campsite idea, so I'm going to have a narrow thread running through the book. So like that list there, whatever it is, that list, I don't know what it says. I'm going to thread something through the middle of the book, and on either side some kind of illustrations. Maybe I'll tear some paper up or colour something in and stick it down on the side. Right? Get the idea? So basically, these kind of books, this type of book here, it's perfect for this kind of long narrow walk. Okay. So that's the finished large so far. Then we've got some rollers over there, roller the black stuff, and there's some more black stuff coming over. I'm going to introduce the first of the mediums that we're going to use today, which is fact, monoprinting. If anyone's done printing here, it's brilliant, great. It's reverse principle if you're doing letters. So if you're doing the word love, for example, you have to write it backwards, okay? But that's okay, we can do that, you know, we're artists, and it's fun if you get it wrong, because you can have to make it into some interesting scribble that wasn't there before. So that's basically it, really. We just need some ideas now to push our book through the finish. And this is always the bit that most people fall on, no ideas, but I think we won't have a problem today. So, give me a theme. Anybody just shout something out and say camping. What? Camping, good mind yourself. So basically it's going to be a series of tents. I'm going to have singing, I'm going to have some beer, I'm going to have an umbrella, I'm going to have some fires, and then I'm going to finish off with a song. Yes, okay? So that's what it's going to be. It's simple as that. Just think of an idea, how is it going to get there, what are you going to have? So there's going to be an illustration of an umbrella, some tins, maybe some singing at the start and some singing at the end, and that may balance up. It doesn't really matter.
Nice.
Tentish, tell me about it. I went through a serious phase of tents. We'll bring out the camera, stop. But I did 2 years, I obsessed over tents. It all began one day and I was watching the telly, I saw Glastonbury. Oh, I'm so jealous. I went, why are you so jealous? You spent your entire youth camping out under the stars, you know? I did. Me and my brothers, Lake District, every single weekend we'd be camping out in the Force 1010, walking up the hills. I said, there's no need to be jealous of all the green men doing it for me. And then after that, I said, right, let's write some books about that. And so then I wrote loads and loads of books about camping, tents, and I really got into it, you know, this whole idea of when you're inside that tent and how snug you on, you're in your own little self-contained world, but outside is the great outdoors, and it's inside, outside, all. Such fun. Okay, so there we have it. So now what I need is a black thing, over there, a black acetylene thing, right? This is what we'll use as our mud up around and get some images going, right? I don't know how well this is going to be, but the other thing is this way, the reverse principle works in reverse, except that we will be starting at the start of the story, which is the end of the story. So you've got to think in reverse, so the song's going to be at the end. You see what I said there? Do you understand? In other words, if you're going to start at this side, that's the end of the book, right? And also it's reverse, so there's two things you've got to remember there. Reverse principle and end of the book. Also, you don't want to get your fingers black, so you've got to be careful of that as well. So, in reverse order, let's see, the song at the end. Which song will it be? In the 70s, it was the Buzzcocks, so it'll be Ever Fallen in Love, okay? And if any of you know the Buzzcocks, that was the song. I've got a little plan falling in my head. I've got a country plan. Ever Fallen in Love, okay? Question. There. So that's it, that's the end. Even though it's exploratory, I knew that was going to happen, right? What's nice about monoprinting sometimes is you will get splodges. What I can do is, even though some of that is missing there, I can write the words Ever Fallen in Love maybe here as well, and there as well, and there. So somehow or other by the time you got the end of the book, you'll get the idea that I'm going to do this punk thing, right? I'll tell you the story now about one day we were coming from Seathwaite to Seatola, and these punk rockers got on the bus, and we were just getting into the punk days, and they were the most outrageous punk rockers because one of these lads put a pair of underpants on his head. And we thought, wow, imagine that, you know? We were young and foolish, and we knew no better. We were doing much worse tricks than that about a year later. So then, hi Denis, beer. See if I can get this one a bit better. Beer. We went on the trek, we walked for like 10 miles to this bar, and of course, we were all too young and they said, get out or call the police, you know, except one of the lads was okay, you know. So we walked for miles, you know, so we put the boots in there like that. It's a symbol for walking. So there, that's good, beer, that works. Then moving on to beer, then we've got, you've got to be careful when you're doing these zigzag things as well. Vice versa, let's get into that straight away. The pages that face each other are important because they're the ones that say that this or that side. How is that going to work? You know? And obviously I've got beer there and a book there and a sort of line there describing a kind of hill. I could probably put another boot in there just to make it a bit more hidden. Yeah, so basically vice versa, watch out for that, you know. I'll come back to that in a second. And now I'm going to have a kind of a blank page here, because in books, like especially these kind of books, you can have like a heartbeat, you know, where nothing might happen, but then the next page something really exciting in reverse. So on this page, I'll do something like a cloud, just a cloud going past. the Lake District where we were camping was the wettest place in England. It's called Seathwaite, and literally we had that cloud over our heads the whole weekend. So as you can see now, I'm building up this narrative now. I'm actually talking about a real thing in my life that happened in front of all these people, you know, which was fun, you know. It was a ginormous cloud that descended for the whole week that we were there, and then there was singing. Yeah, we did lots of singing. So now I'm going to do a picture of a tent. This is us in the tent, and we're all singing songs like this, you know. And this is probably the important part, you know. So I'm going to put singing songs. Now, I actually have got a campsite book where we are singing songs as well anyway, so there's a little bit of copycat going on here. Singing songs, and so on. So I'm going to brush the rest of the book now just to get the idea. I'm going to put an umbrella there like this, kind of an umbrella, kind of a, you know, brush, you know. And then, and I'm going to do a picture of a girl as well, because I always like to do girls in my books, you know, wives. And then on the next page, I just put the question, left, poor, Campbell. And then underneath I'm going to say, never fallen in love again. Fallen in love. Okay? Now this bit here, which you might think is the front cover, might be the front cover, it might be something else, so I'm just going to give that spare, right? So that's my book more or less finished, right? So then you fold it like this. This is why it's called a star, I'll show you now. Because what you do is with those last two, right? And fold up like this, with that finger. I'm always mucky about something, right? Fold that over there like that. You give that a fold as well, especially. But when you fold them, you get these little lines or ridges on the paper, which are pleasant, you know? So you just fold it once, you can fold it twice the other way, you get a slightly different, the double ridge I call it. See that ridge there? Kind of a nice little ridge there, see that? You can get a ridge, you can fold it once and back on itself. The paper makes a kind of a bump like that, and that's pleasant. You want that, you know, like that, and then that just tucks in there like that. You can do that, and that's a book. That's good. You're going to have this book like that, where it's the pages are see-through like that. See, you could also, if you've got plenty of glue, splattered in between there, still get that into a child's nursery board type thing. Yeah. In this occasion, just for argument's sake, just to test it. We'll ask you to glue and something like this. There's a worry now, because you know I'm going to send these off in a second to do this, you know. So be afraid, be very afraid, because you've got a thing that's making that. But anyway, I'll be here to help us, right? So you just give it a squeeze like that, and you pinch. This book should take you no more than 40 minutes, right? If it's taking you more than 40 minutes, you're going to have to speed it up, right? Okay, so there it is. Now I've still got a front cover to think about, which I might stick something on, I might collage something later on, you know. So that's basically it, you know. A little bit of that side then, something on that side just to give it there like that. You can use these kind of things like this if you've got it's still wet, you know. Obviously you've got all these nice drying things where you can spend the day on it and have it dry and come back to it. You know? I'm brushing it. I like all these little sketchbooks here, that's great. Okay, so that's the finished book there, you see. Can you just make one of them, you think? I've made some paper here. You can have a hard paper, print paper if you want, or you can have the soft college paper as well. Remember I did extend it a little bit there as well. So that's at the right number of pages there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 pp. 14 printed pages altogether would be well times 14. On the back, of course, if you were a press like me, the Sun, Moon and Stars press, I could put Sun, Moon and Stars press, name, date, age, whatever it is, you know, other salient details, you know, on the back there where it says that phone. But also other serving suggestions could include, you can put, say the nameplate could be like this. I'm just going to put ever for now, just to show you what I mean. The nameplate could be glued on the front like that as well, you see. You could even have it wrapping around there. That's okay, you know, loads of possibilities there. And then we're straight away into the land of collage, which is really exciting, you know. I love collage as well. So do you want to try that one? Let's see if you can do that, you know, that's a challenge. So for this one, I call this one the Slices of Toast book. And for this I will need a small but fairly perfectly formed spine. So in the same way you were doing the zigzags before, right? I'm doing some small zigzaggy things now. One year me and Denis used this technique to make one of our catalogues. And it was one tricky catalogue, I can tell you now. We were actually making them when the people were coming into the hallway, but anyway, we've got to stand in there, brilliant, okay. So I call this technique the slices of toast, simply because it reminds me of a toast rack when you actually put them in. And my fingers are a bit scruffy now, obviously, as well, so you want to watch for that when you're actually doing this, because it will get a bit scruffy. And I'm using card as well, as opposed to cartridge paper, because this will be actually quite nice to use this. What slices of toast does for you is this, right? You might ask yourself the question, what does slice of toast do for you? What it does is, if you've got individual bits and bobs, like bits like this, for example, you know, pieces of paper, and you want to somehow consolidate them into a mass, cohesive lump. This is the perfect binder for you. I'll show you now why it is. Problem with slice of toast is people get confused, right? And this is the magic way you don't get confused. Oops, sorry, I'm being attacked by some thread now. The magic way to not get confused is to put X on every other station. Okay, so that will come to the end of slices of toast. That's one like that. Okay, when you finish, what you'll have, if you want to make one, is one of them things, slightly tighter than the one you made already. And whoops, that one's a lively one. Okay, so once I was doing this demonstration and I had crap glue. And when it came to pulling them apart, it all fell apart, but that's not going to happen today. What I'm doing is I'm putting an X on every other one. Right? So I'm missing one, putting it. This is where the glue is going to go. This way there can be no confusion. There can be no mishap. Everything will go perfectly. Excuse me, I'm just going to lunge across there and bring this glue to a handier position. Actually, okay, well, yeah, I'll kind of work from here, following this as a kind of a thing, yeah? Space is a no-time premium. Normally when I'm doing this kind of class, I would have about 10, you know, maximum. So it's the transhumance of the loads of years is a bit different, but we're doing all right, aren't we? So moving along, we're pushing it through. You might say he's working us too hard, but perhaps I am. Now I'm going to do this. I don't recommend you do this unless you know what you're doing, right? I'm going to glue them all before I put them in, right? If I was you, I'd put them in one at a time just to make sure, but I know what I'm doing, so it should be okay. I'm trying not to get the glue on that side, because everywhere the glue goes on that side, it'll chock up the thing, you know. What's this book called, anybody?
Toast.
Slices of toast, pieces of toast, whatever you want to call it, you know, just to give you a name on the thing, you know. It probably has a technical name, but I don't know what it is, you know. I call it slices of toast. Maybe I invented it. Who's to say? I can't claim to fame really in that department. Keith Smith's probably got about 1 million of these ones. Okay, so there's all the glue in there like that, right? Now I need the toast. Luckily for me, yes, I prepared it earlier. I was going to tell you something. That's the other beautiful thing about keeping these standard shapes. You're always going to have things that make the thing. I'll keep it in there. That'll be fine. It can be one of my slices of toast there. I'm getting it a bit messy, but it'll be okay. Okay, yeah. Now, I'm making standard size ones for this, but obviously your slices of toast could be as long as that, you know, if you want them to be, right? So, stick them in like this. There's the first one going like that. I'm sticking them in the gutter and I'm giving them a squeeze, right? I'm sticking them right in the gutter and giving them a squeeze, and I'm trying to get them so that they're all going to be like that. The beauty of slices of toast book as well is that if you're on a glass case, heaven forbid, you can actually at least have the display possibility when you pull it in afterwards. Another one there like that. Just that one down now. Slice of toast, slice of toast. Nearly there now. That's a little bit of magic. Just put it there like that. Well, actually that's going to cover the book, but it doesn't matter. I'll suffer that for the time being. I can actually do something else with that. So when it's finished, give it a bit of a squeeze like that, and that's slices of toast for you like that, yeah? And obviously if you're in a glass case, you go like this, you've also got the possibility at the back of designing something quite interesting or exciting at the back, right, yeah? So you can close it like that, you can read like a proper book. I mean that's not a great one, but you know, taking a bit of time over it, you'll get it. Yeah? Slice of toast. Now, the other thing is this, right? There's a variant on that one, which I'm going to show you now, and this is a fun one, and we're going to make this one. And that's called the hook book. The hook book is the world's most simple book. And once you've learned this book, you probably know it already without knowing it. You know when you know something without knowing it. I kind of knew that. Like, I knew that's Unknown Players by Joy Division. I just figured it now into the 80s. I actually had that LP. Ian Curtis. I actually saw him live at City Hall. I don't know when it was now, a long time ago. Okay, hook book. This is really simple. This is even better if you've got loose pieces of paper, but they're all the same size, and you want to do something with them, right? And hook book is the best for that, right? Okay, so let's say you've got these lads here, right, and you want a hook book. All you do is you just put the hook on the end of each one like this. The longest bit of this whole thing is actually making the hooks, actually. Once you've made the hooks, everything else. And unlike that one that has a big kind of elaborate spine, this one is a self-supporting creature. It just literally supports itself. But for sketchbooks, you'll never need to buy a sketchbook again. Even though I actually have to say I loved your little shop down the road there. It's so cute that, you know, they've got their own little shop here. Great. No, I won't slide them. But yeah, well appointed is what it is. Okay, so that'll do for the hook books, I think. Then you don't really need to put the X's on because you know where it's going to go. The glue is going to go on the outside of the hook, right, like that, like that. And then the next hook goes on that one like that. The trick with this one is just to make sure that that part is in sync, right? Don't worry about that because you can trim that up. It's like the beard, you know, and trim that up afterwards. As with all these books, I'm giving you torn papers. You know why I'm doing that? Apart from that, I like tearing papers. Because I don't want you to be precious, really. I want you to get these things mucky. I want you to learn and have fun. And afterwards, you can get precious. You know, tomorrow or the next day, when you've got the hang of it. You know, because you should be having fun and just getting the hang of it. You know, and there's no, as I said, there's no right way to hold a baby as long as it doesn't cry. So these are the hook books going on now. I'm going to very quickly put a few on just so you'll see. It's good PVA, by the way. Sometimes you get really bad PVA and it doesn't work. There's a PVA you get called Polybond, and it's a concrete additive, and that's what I use. But that's only because the shop where I get my stuff from is supplies fishermen and stuff like that. But they're all art supply shops. I'm sure where you can get sensible stuff. You know, you can of course use Prit, which apparently is archival friendly. Didn't know that. It is. So anyway, that's the hook book there finished now. I'm going to just show you just so you can see how that one works. It kind of works. Actually, give it a little squeeze there, but basically you can see straight away that it sticks together. It's a book. It works. You can put a cover on it, hard cover, soft cover, whatever you want to do, and it'll go as a notebook as well. I'm going to give it just a bit more squeeze here because you can use that as like a little press. Often when I'm doing these things, I'm showing them to people who are, I imagine them to be, you know, not students actually, who are working in the kitchen or something. So everything that I'm telling them as though they have to make it up themselves, or, you know, you can get it from Tesco's, you know, this kind of thing, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, so this time it should work nicely there. That's the oops, still didn't quite work there. That one's not quite stuck. Sometimes you get that, you know, it's down like that. And this is why, in a way, right, speedy books, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. So that's hook book number 3. And then just let it dry off like that because you don't want them to be sticking together. So just want to have a go at that one. That's the easy one to do. The question is, should you get away with having the content or not? What do you think? Should we give a prescriptive thing? Love. Okay, this book is called Love. You must do something with love. All it has to have is love. So it's a book about love. That bonk, it's really that bonk. Okay, so it's got 3 holes. You could use more holes if you wanted to, right? But for this size book like this, I also cleverly, cunningly, put on the cover is cardboard, the middles of paper, right? Okay, you don't have to do that, but it just makes kind of more sense. Just like the girl there who's doing, she's doubling up her covers now. You know, here she's putting 2 extra bits of paper. Basically, what you do is you just make a sandwich, a paper sandwich of glue and paper, stick it together, and that gives you the soft cover. Or you can go more for hard cover, real hard covers, yeah. So anyway, this is saddle stitch. You go in through the middle there with the big needle like this. I use the big needle so my eyes are good. And out through there like that to the other side. Real simple stuff, you know. Go back through the middle again like this, holding on to his tail, I suppose is the best way to describe it. There's your first stitch there like that. Back through there like that. Through the other side like this. And then you're gonna go around, pull it tight, you're gonna go around, tuck it in under there, right? See that like that? Under there like that, tuck it in under there like that. Just so you've got that nice, and then you do a little knot in the middle like this, little kind of handy knot, you know, fisherman's knot, whatever kind of knot you want, a lug knot if you want to do it. And then there's a pair of scissors, you give it a nice little trim like this. And that, my friends, is a saddle stitch, right? That's a lot of books are made using a technique similar to that, right? As a starter for 10, it's a really handy one to know, and it's real simple, you know.
Is this specifically for doing that?
I don't know where that came from even.
No.
It belonged to me for young,
It's
you know.
leather.
But it's kind of a brand roll, yeah, brand roll is the name of it.
Yeah, and it's actually for doing this.
Possibly.
They use them for other things as well, but they use it for
Originally for making screw balls.
Yeah.
For making what?
Screw balls. Just for making
You know, if you instead of using a pilot tool, you'd use a brad roll. You'd just a quicker way of doing it if the wood wasn't too not bug, but something else, you know. But we've got 3 scribes there as well. So there's 4 of these pointy things all together, and there's some bolts here. So you're doing regular surfaces here, right? Yeah. And so basically, what you do, I'll show you again a second time, just in case you didn't see the first time, because I didn't show you about the papery bit.
Can you do it slowly for the video camera?
Okay, sorry. I actually, of course, my accent's not going to help you, is it? Okay, so basically, you get a bunch of paper, right? See, this cartridge paper big enough, right? And how many pages are there? 1, 2, 4 pages, right? Get 4 pages, fold them down so they're a nice size. It could be that size, let's say. Make 3 marks in the middle, and the marks, you don't want to have them kind of like, because that's kind of wrong, and you want to have them sort of nice. People use rulers actually, you can use a ruler if you want to go down that road, but basically you get them equal enough, you know, for our purposes. You prop them through here like this, or you can use one of these boards, safety, health and safety here, you know. Stick it like that, stick it like that, stick it like that. Now needles, right, it's interesting, this big needle is the best thing because it's just great for people who have eyesight issues. You push it through there like this in the middle. I get them from Tesco's, but I also get them from the Chandler's.
Bolster needle for this.
Tesco.
I think this is a sale maker, so this one I got from the Chandler's actually, but you can get them from Tesco's as well. You get these useless curvy ones there, which I know you use, but you get some big ones. If you get big needles, then you don't have to be worried about the threading them all the time. That's the only reason I use these. And also in demonstrations, it's more comfortable. You can see what's happening here. So like there, I've gone through there like that.
Is the thread specially waxed? Is it waxed thread or anything?
Okay, I'll come back to the thread in a second, right? Because the thread in itself is an interesting one. This thread that I'm currently using, the reason I'm using it is because it's a nice friendly thread. It's not going to get clogged up, and it is made of hemp, which is the same stuff that the hashish comes from, I think. Same plant, you know, but it provides this amazingly strong fibre. Although this isn't that strong, but it's a good used on ships' ropes and things. You know. So anyway, it goes back through there like that. At that point in time, you're going to be tying it off like this. Give it a good pull there like that. Just a simple knot. And you cut it off like this. And I've got lots of different colours as well. This hemp stuff. So I've put in this flower. Now, if people have dangly things they want to put down there, there could be beady things happening, you know, and all that kind of stuff. That's great. Oh, yes, there's another thing as well. I must show you before you go. Remind me of the hairy book. I'll have to show them the hairy book technique because everyone likes that one. So that's the saddle stitch anyway. So have a go at that now if you want. There's 3 things there. There's boards there. There's another one of them there. One pair of scissors. I'll see how many needles I've got. I'll get you some thread. Yeah. That's nice, but it's a little bit thin, you know. So, as I said, if you've done this and you want to keep these books at home, you can actually have a spine as well. I'm going to go with the spine here. We'll just do two colours, you know. So yeah, I think that's good. Now you can. Some people draw around them before they do them, but just leave them out there now, don't you? I'm going to use my stuff. It's just handy. So you get some of this, you lash it on there like that, right? You need 2 grey boards each, okay? 2 grey boards, like that. It has to be like that. You have to get the corners, don't miss the corners. So if you miss the corners, it'll not glue properly. One goes there like that. I actually am going to do a little drawing now on this just to show you what you're supposed to do, right? You don't go right at the edge because it'll show, you know? Basically what you're doing is you're going to wrap the book in the thing. You've seen these books, you get them all the time, case bound book, and it's simple enough, right? And then you get the scissors. Thank you very much. Okay. Of course, I'm a left-handed person in a right-handed world. It's so unfair. Is anyone else here a left-handed person? Way up the lefties. I want to sing to the red line. I'll probably beat you up on the way home. Take your lunch money. But see what I'm doing here? I'm just kind of going around and I'm kind of skimming the colour there a little bit. And then a little bit. I'm just kind of doing that like that. So you're going to be doing this one in a minute, right? You'll enjoy this, I think. You lash that on there like that. This goes on there like that. Obviously there'll be people in this room who are ultra tidy who are saying, he's making a right mess of that, isn't he? And it's true, yes I am, I'm a bit messy, but I'm just basically showing you the gist of it, you know? And by a process of trial and error, experimentation, having fun, you'll come to kind of make more happy books, and it'll be better for you, I think, in the longer term. I'm trying to get all conscious about it and ruined it, you know?
If you go down and Captain Delaney's books, which are on the windowsill in the library, books with the plots, she uses exactly the same technique as the plot. She stitches it. You can actually see inside the cover to see exactly what Andi is doing there now. So that's just one example. There's other examples as well, but that's a really obvious one because she can actually see the stitching. She reveals it to us.
She stitched the cloth
On the board.
Okay, that's good now. You see, this piece now is going to go in there. I'm just going to plug them in. But the question is, before it goes in, should it be all sticking out like that? And the answer, of course, is no. So that's where the craft knife comes in. Have you got the craft knife now?
Yes.
The sharp craft knife and a board. A board and a sharp craft knife. Savage looking things they are. Big blue hands. That's them, yeah. That's them. And a board. This is a killer part, you know, and then you should really have a metal ruler, but we'll just use a grey board because that's just as good. And also, this is the size that you're cutting to anyway, right? Okay? So, things to think about, first of all, you might have to sacrifice that page and that page. So if you've done a beautiful cover there, it's gone, you know. Luckily, you've all got blank books. Also, when you're cutting it to size, if you might want to keep that in the middle there, so you're going to do like that, yeah? Borrow your pen again. So what's your name? Thank you, Stephen. Cheers. Good. Craft and yes, yeah. Watch your fingers in this now, so this is your second chance to pin these. You can just slash through them a little bit at a time. Let the knife do the work. Okay? Likewise down here. And unlike normal, typical Andi McGarry books that have all raggedy bits at the end, this will be all tidy and neat. You'll be getting extra points off the thing.
Obvious reason I put the use the knife away from your body. Put your shirt and stuff. See, Andi perfect at doing there, yes. No chance of a pen
self-harming workshop.
No pressure, man. No pressure.
That's the first
Okay. Something like that, right? You're going to have a kind of a reasonably cut book then, right? And hopefully you've made some delightful things inside. Next thing you do is you just slap this on here like this. Notice I use words like slap and slosh and, you know, evocative kind of messy, sloppy terms, and not carefully put or carefully in place, you know, because you've come to happy bookmaking, not anywhere else, you know. So just lash it on there.
That's not what they're used to here. They're used to professionals.
This point in time, you can just recharge your fingers before you put the second one on like that, and that just goes over there like that. Give it a squish. In fact, they're all devices, kind of clunky devices. I could have put a spine in there, but I'm not going to for the time being. I think it's okay. Nicely book finished. The thing is, it may or may not open up. It's a bit shiny. Yeah, just kind of opens up. And you'll find that the spine will kind of get its own identity after a few openings and closings. And you might find kind of the pressure on that bit there. You've got the numbers wrong. It's just a question of trial and error, as I said. Just kind of chance me on. Okay, I think that's okay.
The book then the collection as well about the weight on, and they've joined the front and back
Take
page.
two past the month.
Taken away, but they didn't do it properly, so it's split. If you look at the back page, it's actually split away. The actual books.
To get them mistakes. Okay. You have to put plenty on the.
Okay.
A bit stubborn, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where the sweatshop is, isn't it?
Probably one of your books will go in credit. That's the optimum size figure. Japanese stamp. It's very simple. Anyone who's finished can watch it and stop me doing it. It's a simple enough stuff. You've got 4 rows there, right? It's for when someone was saying what you for newspapers or something, you want to do like that, you know. There'll be specific reasons why you would use a stamp as opposed to any other binding, but it is handy one to know if you've got loose pages and you want to print. Is a great one, if you've got like a bunch of prints and you want to find the way put them together, especially if you've got the edge of it. So Japanese style, you have 4 holes like this, you give them a prog there like that. And what this prog is like, it's as good as the other one. And there's loads of variations on this one as well. There's the butterfly, there's the this, there's the that, you know. Basically you start off, you kind of poke through there. And if you've ever seen blanket stitch, like blanket stitch I suppose, you know. And everything has to be kind of obvious, right? So the first job is to go around there like that, capture that lad there like that, right? Okay? Get them on the end like that. And then you're going to go up to that end, and then back down to that end, right? That's straightforward, yeah? So you're going to go on this side there, and you're going to knock over your steps twice, right? It's like a kind of a game, you know? Do it over your steps twice. These are quite good actually, they make a much more dainty hood than the big yellow thing like that, you know? You're going to go around there again, capturing it through there. And then most people put the ears on them. I think that's quite nice too because it makes a line there. That's the ear there. You don't have to have that, you know. I'll show you this one, I've just made it where it doesn't have ears on. Come back down through here again. And back through there. You're going to meet this lad on the way back up, okay? You've got some mission to come first down and at the end here. Following on down like that. So each time you're going to go down and then around down like that, back up through there. Try and keep these things kind of tight in right angle. If you want to be really strict about it, you know, the way the Japanese are about sort of orderly Zen garden kind of thing. And if you can do this one, then there's another variation where you can go and do kind of other things, twizzly bits like that and everything. Yeah, it's all decorative stuff in there. You don't need to do that until you can do this one. So if you get the end there like that, put a little ear in. Make sure it's nice and tight. And in the corner there. So then you've got 2 years and you're heading for home now, you're on the home run. Glumping there, hopefully you've got enough thread to complete the journey. You've got 2 more things. That should be enough. Down through there like that. You can see that kind of pattern that's forming on the edge of the book now. And as you come to the end, right, the last bit, the last hurdle, you just chuck him in there like that again, just like that other one we did, you know, the other one, where you kind of do a little knot, and you do a little tight knot there and there like that. And that's a Japanese stab, and it's real simple stuff. Obviously I've put black marks on there with the thing, but you see it on the other side, see that? I was going to show you a couple of variations. Now I'll show you what I've seen this. The clever thing about this book doesn't have, can anyone notice the difference? Well, apart from it's got a spine, it's got some big it's articulated, right? Because the problem with Japanese stamps, right, is they do that. You know, it's prints, for example. You know, it's a book you should be able to look through without having to, you know, need 3 arms being octopus. But this, the clever thing about this is that page is articulated, so straight away it makes it bit easier to get in there. You know? So I don't know if you remember this morning I showed you the green book. The border collaboration, scraps in the border collaboration, that has this particular device on there. I thought it was very clever. So in order to do that, you need to have 2 bits of cardboard, 2 bits of board, and the second bit is just a thin bit like that, which you put on the end there like that. And then you make up like how you're making your boards there, yeah? Comprehended? Okay, yeah, good. So that's Japanese style.